Demon King of Tyranny. An Anas Voldigoad, doing something completely out of character for a tyrant, sacrificing himself for peace. Yep, 2,000 years ago. After endless wars and chaos, Anas teamed up with the human hero Kanon to put an end to the madness. He straight up gave up his life, thinking this should fix everything. Fast forward 2 millennia, and Anas is back, reincarnated and ready to see how his legacy's holding up. Spoiler, it's a hot mess. Turns out, his royal demon descendants have gotten real snobby, lording over hybrid demons like it's their full-time job. Since Anas reincarnated as a hybrid himself, technically, he's also at the bottom of the social ladder. But does that stop him? Nope. He's like, all right, guess I'll just have to reclaim my title as Demon King the old-fashioned way by crushing everyone's expectations. But there's a catch. To prove he's the real deal, he's got to graduate from the Demon King Academy, where he's labeled a total misfit. Why? Because his power is so off the charts that the school doesn't even know how to measure it. Anas and a bunch of students get these Hogwarts-style owl invites to the Demon King Academy, a fancy school where they train the descendants of the Demon King of Tyranny. On entrance exam day, Anas meets Misha, a shy girl who's a bit flustered thanks to some motivational words from her guardian. As they roll up to the academy, they get the royal jerk treatment from Zepes, a demon with an ego bigger than his family's bank account. Anas, being Anas, ignores him so hard that Zepes snaps and tries to toast them with fire magic. Zepes gets roasted by Anas's words, and they move on to the practical exam, where Anas is paired against Zepes. Zepes tries to look cool with a fancy family heirloom sword, but Anas shuts that down fast, dousing the sword's flames like it's no big deal. Then, to make it fair, Anas declares he won't move an inch during their duel. Zepes, clearly regretting his life choices, starts bleeding mid-fight because Anas is using magic through his heartbeat. Zepes claims he'll never surrender unless compelled, so Anas decides to get creative. Instead of compulsion magic, he flicks Zepes out of existence, revives him, and repeats the process over and over like he's speedrunning a horror game. Terrified and exhausted, Zepes finally surrenders. Next up, magical assessments. Misha scores a solid 100,246, while Anas breaks the magic crystal with his ridiculous power, earning a big fat 0. Then, during the aptitude test, students are quizzed about the Demon King of Tyranny. Afterward, Misha waits for Anas, and he invites her to his house. Anas uses Gatum, an ancient teleportation spell nobody even remembers anymore to get them there. Misha's jaw drops. At home, things get wild. Anas's overly excited parents assume Misha is his bride. Instead of clearing up the misunderstanding, Anas rolls with it and promises to explain later. They celebrate his acceptance into the academy with mushroom gratin, and it's wholesome chaos all around. Later, while Anas and Misha are out for a stroll, a magical arena pops up, courtesy of Leorg Indu, Zepes' older brother. Leorg kicks off the drama by killing Zepes for being weak. Savage, right? Then he and his squad try to flex their magic skills, but things backfire, literally. Most of his crew explodes, leaving Leorg to go all in with a super risky spell, Girost. He fires it at Anas. But when the dust clears, Anas is standing there, bored. Turns out, origin magic doesn't work on the actual origin, which is Anas himself. Leorg, mad as ever, accuses Anas of disrespecting the Demon King's legacy. Anas claps back with, "How is talking about myself disrespecting my own legacy?" Deciding to teach a lesson on sibling bonds, Anas revives Zepes and lets him go after Leorg. He tells Leorg to call out his brother's name to prove their bond. Spoiler, the bond is non-existent, and Leorg ends up dead. Anas revives both brothers, declares himself the actual Demon King of Tyranny, and dismantles the arena like it's just another Tuesday. Finally, Anas heads to his first class, cracks another dad joke that lands flat, and wonders why everyone's staring. Misha explains his badge marks him as a misfit. And just like that, Anas becomes the official misfit of the Demon King Academy. Demon Castle Delsgade, where the hero Kanon, Demon King Anas, Great Spirit Rena, and Goddess of Creation Militia are having what's basically a fantasy world peace summit. Anas, being the drama king he is, casually volunteers to sacrifice himself to create 4 massive walls that'll keep everyone from tearing each other apart for 1,000 years. Kanon straight up stabs him with a holy sword. Anas, in his dying moments, goes, "Yo, Kanon, let's be BFFs if we meet again." Then, the world gets split into 4 parts. Flash forward 2,000 years later, and guess what? Baby Anas is back. He's reborn, pops out of the womb, and shocks his parents, Isabella and Gusta, by announcing his own name like, "What up? I'm Anos Voldigoad. Zero chill. Fast forward to Ainos rolling into the Demon King Academy like a boss. His classmate, Misha, casually mentions no one's ever failed the aptitude test, which confuses him because, duh, he answered everything about himself correctly. Using a sneaky mind-reading spell, he learns everyone thinks the founder's name is Avos Dilavia. The chaos begins when their homeroom teacher, Emilia Ludowell, announces the class will pick team leaders who can cast a spell called Guys. Anos raises his hand like, I'm your guy. But apparently, hybrids aren't allowed. So, being Anos, he challenges Emilia to a duel of sorts. If he proves hybrids aren't inferior to purebloods, he gets to lead. If not, he'll drop out. Spoiler alert, he redraws the guy's magic circle to make it twice as powerful and wins, leaving Emilia eating her words while the class collectively whispers what just happened. Then there's Sasha Necron, aka the Witch of Destruction, who oozes drama. She introduces herself, and Anos notices she and Misha don't seem super sisterly. Turns out, they have a complicated family decision vibe going on. Sasha also calls Misha a defective little junk doll, which is a big yikes. Anos claps back, basically saying, you don't know squat about magical dolls if you think they don't have souls. Sasha, insulted, goes full magic eyes of destruction, blowing up a wall behind Anos. Anos, unfazed, flexes his own destruction eyes, leaving Sasha speechless. He invites her to his team, but she storms off, throwing in a dramatic, I never thought of Misha as my sister. Later, Sasha challenges Anos and Misha to a Zect. If they beat her team in the upcoming team battle, she'll join Anos' squad. If they lose, Sasha gets to own him. Yeah, she went there. The battle? Anos absolutely demolishes Sasha's team because, duh, he's the Demon King of Tyranny. True to her word, Sasha joins the team. To celebrate, Anos takes the sisters to his house for a chill dinner with his parents. Later, while walking them home, Sasha hits Anos with a surprise kiss. Misha's reaction? TBD, but it's probably somewhere between awkward and annoyed. On the way home, things get juicy when Misha and Sasha hit each other with the classic question, asking if she likes Anos. Sasha goes full denial mode, insisting there's no way but secretly appreciates how Anos can stare into her super destructive magic eyes without, dying. She even reminisces about how Misha was the only one who could meet her gaze back in the day. Cue a heartfelt apology from Sasha, which Misha forgives because she's, like, the nicest person ever. Next, we've got Ivus Necron, one of the 7 Elder Demon Emperors Anos literally created from his own blood. He's running a magic lesson when Anos realizes Ivus doesn't remember him. So, what does Anos do? Oh, just sends Ivus back in time to fetch his memories. Totally casual. Turns out someone tampered with the past, convincing everyone that the Demon King's name is Avos Dilavia. Anos, obviously annoyed, presses Ivus for answers, but Ivus decides to stay neutral for now because, well, trust issues. The students are assigned to collect magical items from a dungeon, and Anos is like, cool, I'll just speedrun this. He heads straight to the lowest level because of course he knows all the shortcuts. Grabs a fancy scepter for a perfect score, and, wait for it, decides to pick up a gift for Sasha's birthday. He offers Misha one of his personal treasures, the Phoenix robe, because nothing says happy birthday like rare magical loot from the Demon King's stash. But then things take a wild turn. Sasha pulls a knife on Misha and goes full villain mode, claiming she was faking their friendship all along and plans to betray them. Oh, and if Anos tries anything, the knife will magically stab Misha deeper. Classic bad guy move, right? Except Anos flips the script. He calmly catches Sasha mid-air, reveals he already healed Misha before things even went down, and calls her out for lying. His proof, her supposedly uncontrollable magic eyes of destruction, didn't activate when she was ranting about Misha, which means she doesn't actually hate her sister. At Misha's request, Anos lets Sasha flee with the robe and scepter. Then Misha drops a heartbreaking bombshell. She's not real. Turns out, she's some kind of magical existence that will disappear when she and Sasha turn 15. Misha is on borrowed time. Sasha and Misha's backstory is wild. When Sasha was still a fetus yet, Ivus decided, what if I just split this one baby into 2? When they turn 15, they'll fuse back into one uber-powerful demon. Efficient, right? Not so much for the poor twins. Anos catches up with Sasha, and she's not actually evil. Plot twist. She's been scheming this whole time to save Misha. Sasha even created a spell to let Misha live while she herself disappears. And all those years of being mean to Misha, that was her big brain way of making sure Misha would reject her, which is apparently step 1 of her plan. But Misha, being the sweetheart she is, refuses. So they both sit there, crying it out, waiting for Misha to fade away. Anos swooping in with a galaxy brain solution, time travel. He casually suggests sending them back to when they were unborn fetuses so they can fuse their half-sources with their fetal half-sources and be reborn as full, independent twin sisters. Science? Logic? Who needs that when you're the demon king of tyranny? Before anyone can say that's genius, Ivus literally crashes through the ceiling and pulls a stabby stab on Anus. Why? Because he wants to use the twins' fused body as a vessel for the real Demon King's reincarnation. Bold move, but also incredibly dumb because, spoiler alert, Anus doesn't care about getting stabbed, like, at all. He just yeets a demon sword at Ivus, knocking him out of commission. Just as Anus is about to activate his time travel magic, Hugo Laravias, the Keeper of Time, shows up like, not on my watch. Hugo and Ivus team up, fuse together, and straight up kill Anus. But Anus, being the overachiever he is, resurrects himself in 0.2 seconds using Ingle and drops the ultimate flex. I can even defy gods. Anus finally sends Sasha and Misha back in time, where they merge with their fetal selves and are reborn as full-fledged twin sisters with their own separate sources. Meanwhile, Anus pulls out Venus Danoa, his OP magic sword that basically ignores the laws of reality and obliterates Ivus like it's just another Tuesday. But wait, Ivus wasn't acting alone. Turns out his memories were tampered with, and there's a mysterious third party tied to Avos Dilivia pulling the strings. Anus restores Ivus's memories and lets him off the hook for now. Sasha and Misha return, now officially twin sisters, and everyone gets their happily ever after. Well, almost. Anus casually decides to return his scepter to the dungeon so he can get that perfect score on the exam. Anus and his squad are storming the Great Spirit Forest of Harthern. Why? He's hunting for the Great Spirit Reno because, well, that's just what Demon Kings do on a slow Tuesday. His right-hand man, Shin Riglia, casually takes out the Great Water Spirit Lignon in one hit like, didn't even break a sweat, and wins a bet with Anus. The prize? Shin gets Anus's blessing to reincarnate later. Then Kanon shows up, and Anus is all. You deal with this, Shin. I've got a hero to smack around. Fast forward 2,000 years. And the Demon King Academy is buzzing because a new student is transferring in, and this guy supposedly got mad sword skills. Meanwhile, Emilia announces the results of the dungeon exam. She tries to tank Anus's score, but Anus, being Anus, already found the missing scepter, making her sabotage attempt spectacularly flop. Enter Misa Iliaroagu, a classmate who's had enough of the anti-hybrid nonsense. She claps back at Emilia, pointing out the royal favoritism. Emilia, predictably, doubles down and reminds her that campaigning for hybrid equality is forbidden. Later, Misa gives Anus the rundown. She's part of the Unitarians, a group trying to make society less awful for hybrids. Anus is intrigued to learn Melhias Boran, an elder demon emperor, is also a Unitarian. Misa drops a bombshell. She's half demon, half spirit. Her mom died when she was born, and her dad's identity is a big old question mark. She suspects he's a royal, which is messy because royals having hybrid kids is a major no-no. Oh, and on her 10th birthday, her mysterious dad sent her half a demon sword. Why half? Because it's supposed to symbolize unity between royals and hybrids. Anus, being the boss he is, decides to let Misa and her squad join his team if they can prove their worth. Now for the sword lessons. It turns out only 2 people in the academy can actually handle demon swords. Anus and the transfer student, Lei Glanzuli. La is the cool, confident type who immediately asks to join Anus's team, ignoring his own royal status and Emilia's hissy fit. Anus, ever the challenge-loving king, is like, nah, prove it in a battle. It's exam time, and it's a full-on showdown. Misha and Sasha go head-to-head with Misa and the Anus fan union. Yes, Anus has a fan club, and it's as extra as you'd expect. Naturally, the sisters dominate. Meanwhile, Anus faces off against Lei, and here's the kicker. Anus uses a tree branch. Yup, he's basically fighting a master swordsman with a glorified twig. Lei starts having flashbacks, realizing he's dueled Anus before. Anus wins, obviously, but the duel confirms his suspicions. Lei is the reincarnation of Shin, his old right-hand man. Lei, being a good sport, vows to beat Anus next time. And Anus? He's just grinning, ready for the next challenge. After smacking down Krut Ludowell like it was just another Tuesday, Anus decides it's celebration time. He invites Lei and Misa over for dinner, alongside Sasha and Misha, because nothing says we're a team like home-cooked meals and overexcited parents. His mom and dad, Isabella and Gusta, throw a mini parade in their heads, hyping up Anus like he's the MVP of the century, which, to be fair, he kind of is. Over dinner, they share the wild story of his difficult birth, because apparently, even baby Anus was extra. Turns out, that's why they support him unconditionally, no matter how chaotic his life gets. Meanwhile, outside, Lei casually checks in on Misa and drops a bombshell. Half spirit, half demons like her don't usually have long lifespans. The next day at the academy, Emilia announces the chosen competitors for the next Magic Sword tournament. Surprise! It's Lei and Anus again. Anas, suspicious as ever, meets up with Melhias Boran, one of his OG 7 Elder Demon Emperors. Despite having his memories scrambled like eggs, still knows deep down that Anas is the real Demon King of Tyranny. He recalls escaping to the Great Spirit Forest, but is stuck outside the walls of Dilhade. Spicy lore alert. Someone's been tampering with the past and pulling the strings from the shadows. Later, to thank Misha for cooking him his favorite dinner, Anas takes her on a wholesome outing. They build some magic models because that's apparently the demon equivalent of arts and crafts. Then they hit a cat cafe. But wait, this isn't your average cafe. One of the cats turns out to be Ivis in disguise, because in this world, even cats are spies. Ivis drops some cryptic intel about someone higher up controlling Melhias and the Unitarians. Fast forward to the big day, and Ivis delivers more shady info. Armed with these new revelations, Anas initially decides to skip the tournament. Why? He's got way bigger fish to fry than showing off with a sword. But then, his parents cheering for him like he's about to win the Super Bowl. Their unshakable faith in their son melts his stone-cold heart, and he changes his mind. Anas strides into the ring to face the reigning champ, Krut Ludowell, because how could he possibly let his parents down? Anas strolls into the arena like it's just another day and absolutely wrecks Krut Ludowell. Naturally, this doesn't sit well with Krut's big sis, Emilia, who's throwing a tantrum in the corner. Meanwhile, Lay also crushes his opponent, but not without stirring the pot. Turns out, Lay's got ties to a royalist organization, and Anas senses something seriously off. Spoiler, it's not just Lay's questionable life choices. Backstage, Anas and Lay have a little stare down, where Anas figures out Lay's being controlled by a contractual demon sword. Nothing like some magical blackmail to spice things up. After securing his win, Anas hands his trusty sword to his mom for safekeeping. Then, he and Misa head over to Log North Magic Hospital for a side quest. There, they meet Sheila Gransley, Lay's adoptive mom, who's battling spirit disease. She spills the tea about Lay's past and how the royalists are jerking him around like a puppet. In classic Anas fashion, he's like, "No problem, I'll just invent a spell to help." Misa steps up to assist with the spell, proving once again that she's way braver than the average high schooler. But before they can finish, things go sideways back at home base. While Anas is off being the hero, Emilia decides it's a good time to pick on his mom and the Anas fan union. Big mistake. She storms in to steal Anas's sword and attacks with Golzora, but the fangirls aren't here to play. They throw down some protective magic to shield Isabella, even though it leaves them severely burned. Anas teleporting in like, what did I miss? When he sees the aftermath, let's just say he's not in a forgiving mood. He heals everyone, gets their names, and thanks them one by one. Then he teleports Emilia straight to the arena for her public humiliation tour. Anas doesn't just stab her with a sword. Oh no, he roasts her verbally too. He forces her to beg for her life and acknowledge him as the one true demon king of tyranny. When she fails to mean it, he kills her. But wait, there's more. He immediately resurrects her as a hybrid, curses her to stay that way every time she dies, and tells her to get a fresh perspective on life. Savage. Back at the hospital, Lay stops Misa from sacrificing her life force for the spell. Instead, he has a heartfelt chat with his mom, who tells him to live his life on his terms. Feeling inspired, Lay pulls a disappearing act before Anas can return. Before Anas and Lay even cross swords, the rules come with a dark twist. If Lay loses, his source gets obliterated by that cursed contractual demon sword. Oh, and if Sheila doesn't keep receiving magic power through the spirit drain ring, her health tanks. But Lay, he's not about to let some magical extortion ruin the vibe. He decides to fight with everything he's got. Blackmail be damned. The duel? Absolute fireworks. Blades clash, sparks fly, and in the end, Anas comes out on top because, of course, he does. Surprise. Melhias pulls off his Scooby-Doo villain reveal, announcing he's been running the tournament as part of his evil master plan. He teleports everyone to another dimension because why not? To spice things up, he summons Gaios and Idol, 2 Elder Demon Emperors, for backup. But then Lay pulls the ultimate comeback move. Not only is he not dead thanks to Anas sneakily breaking the sword's control device mid-fight, but he swoops in and beheads the Demon Emperors like it's just another Tuesday. Melhias plays his trump card. Sheila is his hostage. Lay dives after her into yet another dimension. Melhias, now feeling extra smug, unleashes Bano Yevon, a super fancy dimensional prison spell. Anas, being the multitasking king, splits his magic power to protect Lay and Sheila while fending off Melhias. Just as Melhias starts monologuing about his inevitable victory, Lay steps up, with Sheila now in her spirit sword form. Yeah, she's literally a sword. Lay slices through Bano Yevon and even leaves a scratch on Melhias' cheek. Melhias starts flexing about his magical reserves, but Anas suddenly appears behind him. How? He traced that scratch from Lay's sword like a GPS tracker. Melhias freaks out and detonates another Bano Yevon, thinking he's finally won. Anas strolls out of the explosion like it's a minor inconvenience. Turns out the spirit drain ring and Bino Yevon's effects reawakened his source of destruction. Translation: he's now rocking all of his original magic power. With Venus Dano in hand, the sword that makes reality cry, Anas explains how it works. It doesn't just destroy things, it erases the reason they exist. Melhias learns this the hard way when his legs randomly detach from his body, even though he dodged the slash. Anas makes quick work of Melhias, stabbing him through the skull and destroying the control device messing with his mind. Melhias regains his senses and spills the beans on what went down. He also resurrects the beheaded demon emperors so Anas can separate their true selves from the sources controlling them. But just as Anas tries to revive the puppet sources for some juicy intel on Avos del Evia, a mystery figure swoops in, destroys them, and pieces out. Back in the real world, Anas revives Sheila, revealing her true form is, in fact, a spirit sword. Lei and Sheila share a heartfelt moment, proving you can hug a sword if you try hard enough. And because this story wouldn't be complete without Sasha stealing the spotlight, she rewards Anas with a commemorative sword and plants a kiss on both his cheeks. You know, just to keep things spicy.